Hey everyone! It's been a long time. I actually started back up at school, so a lot of my time's been doing that and catching up on orders. I had some free time today, so I decided I would do this video on the Sunshine Crossbody pouch. That's a free pattern. I told my group that I would do a video for it, and it's just been a really long time, but I'm finally doing it. So, Sunshine Crossbody pouch, free pattern from Bagstock. It has a front zipper pocket, and then inside it's boxed and it has a zipper pocket as well. This is super cute, super fast sew. People are obsessed with these. So here we go. All right, so join me and let me know if you have any questions. Let's get sewing. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my strap and my connectors. I like to get those out of the way. I've got 1/8 inch double-sided tape on both sides because I ran out of my 1/4 inch that I usually put down the center. So I'm gonna remove my double-sided tape. I've got my center marking on these connector tabs. I'm gonna fold it to the raw edge. And then we're gonna go ahead and top stitch down both folded edges. We'll do the other connector, and then we're gonna do the strap the same way, except we're gonna fold it once more. So you'll fold it to the center, and then you're gonna fold it once more in half to hide those raw edges, and we'll top stitch all the way down that as well. All right, I'm gonna use a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and a 5.5 stitch length. And then I'll repeat for my strap. Let's go ahead and finish the D-ring tabs by sliding them through your D-ring with that raw edge on the bottom. Fold it in half and put a little clip on it. Then take the raw edge of your strap, slide it up and over the top of your adjustable slider. We're going to stitch right across the edge here. I'm going to use a 4.5 stitch length and stitch all the way forward and all the way back. After that, go ahead and go to the other end of your strap, slide on a swivel, make sure it's pointing to the outside of your strap. Take that same raw edge up and over, and then grab your last swivel and make sure it's going the same direction. Slide that on and fold it over about 1.25 inches or so, and then stitch across there. Now we'll need our pocket lining, our zipper, our exterior main, the exterior top main, and the 2 side pieces. We're going to put the zipper onto the lining, base stitch across here. My base stitch is the same length of 5.5 and 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, I've got a strip of double-sided tape across the top here. I'm going to take my exterior and lay it right side down on top of this, making sure it's centered, and then we'll stitch across the top. I'm going to stitch from my lining side so I can see my base stitches, and I'll use a 3.5 stitch length and a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Go ahead and fold those back and press them nice and smooth, and we're going to top stitch across the top here. I'm going to go ahead and use a 5 stitch length and go all the way across the top here. All right, go ahead and take that bottom raw edge of your lining and fold it up to the top, keeping those sides aligned. We're going to match up the top raw edge and we'll baste across. Grab your top piece, put double-sided tape on the bottom, which is the wider piece. Find the center of both, and we're going to put them right sides together. and then sew across the top like we did previously. Go ahead and press that up, and we will top stitch across the top. I don't know if I said, but I used a 5 stitch length on my canvas here. Okay, I've trimmed up my sides. I've put my zipper pull on. Grab these sides, and we're going to put them right sides together, and we're going to stitch down the sides. Okay, I'm going to use a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and a 3.5 stitch length. And because we're doing the exact same thing on the back, I went ahead and prepped that, and I'll do it in a chain. Okay, we'll go ahead and open those up, and we're going to top stitch down those seams on the side panels. I'm going to go back to a 5.5 stitch length down the vinyl. I've trimmed my panels so they're nice and even, and then I'm going to go ahead and trim the corners here where that seam's kind of thicker. Okay, grab your lining panel, make your box. I made mine a 1/2 inch wide because I'm using a number 5 zipper. I'm gonna rip my hole, clip those corners. I've got double-sided tape on both sides here, but I'm gonna move to my zipper and the panels first. We're gonna baste across the top here, and then do the same thing on this one. I also put double-sided tape on both raw edges of the zipper there. I'm going to go back to here and peel the double-sided tape off and fold it over 1/4 of an inch. Do the same thing on this side. And then we'll fold these back out of the way as well. Then peel your double-sided tape off of one side of your zipper. Flip this over to the front and center it, and then we'll top stitch. I'll use a 5 on the canvas. I left long tails at the beginning and the end so I can pull them to the back and tie them off. Go ahead and flip it over real quick and grab your zipper pull. Separate your zipper just a little. Start on the left rounded side. Insert one side, then the right. Pull it up till it's even and push it back on. Pull that double-sided tape off the other side. Tuck those triangles in if they popped out. And we'll go top stitch the rest of the way around. I'm going to start in the same stitch I left off in. Long tails at the beginning and end again. I went ahead and trimmed that extra down at the bottom. I tied my threads. I made a mark a 1/2 inch up from one side of the lining panel. I'm going to fold it up just a little bit at the end and put a clip. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Then I'll fold this other one behind it up to match it so it's even. And then we're going to stitch down these two sides. I'm going to start with my lining up, and in that triangle flap we pulled out of the way, and I'm going to stitch with a 3.5 all the way down. Repeat on the other side. Go ahead and trim those seams down to about 1/4 of an inch so it looks like this, and your pocket is done. Okay, grab your zipper tape, and on those marks you made, go ahead and pinch wrong sides together and fold and make a 90-degree turn like that, and we'll baste that together But let's go ahead and pinch the other side and fold it as well. And then baste that one. Then put your zipper pull on. All right, go ahead and trim your zipper to size and then grab your zipper tab with your mark in the middle. Fold to the center like we did before. I'm just gonna go ahead and set my zipper right on top there and then fold it to the center on this side and roll it over. Then we'll go top stitch. All right, go ahead and grab your lining with no pocket. Mark the center of your zipper tape. I'm gonna put this to the right hand side with my teeth up, matching my centers, and we're gonna baste across the top. All right, let's go ahead and baste. I went ahead and put a double-sided tape at the top of my zipper. We'll peel that off. Grab your exterior front, lay it right sides together. I'm going to use a 3.5 stitch length and a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and sew all the way across the top. Okay, I went ahead and trimmed the vinyl right here at the zipper and to the corner at the zipper tab as well. Then I flipped over to the waterproof canvas and trimmed it there as well, leaving that zipper intact, not trimming it at all on either side. Okay, then we can open this up, press our fabrics right sides together, and then we're going to top stitch all the way across. All right, I'm going to use a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and a 5.5 stitch length. All right, we're pretty much going to do the exact same thing with the other pieces. Put the zipper tape, well, it's the wrong side of the zipper tape with the right side of the lining piece. I'm just going to line up my sides and place my zipper tape like that, and we'll baste across. Line them up with your double-sided tape on your zipper. Put them wrong sides together and then top stitch across the top. Okay, so I messed up with the video. After I finished top stitching, you put the exterior two sides, right sides together, and the lining side, right sides together. On the sides and bottom, the corners here need to be pushed down towards your lining and matched up. And then you sew with a 1/2 inch seam allowance on your lining side and a 3/8 on your exterior side. Your zippers are open in your zipper pocket and at the exterior part. We're going to box corners before we turn this out though. Okay y'all, I'm having a hot mess moment here. I forgot to put the strap connectors on. So I went ahead and ripped my seam open just a little bit here so I could stuff my connectors in. I've got them placed pretty much as close to the top as possible. I'm going to stitch this back again, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew a second line of stitching right next to this before boxing my corners. So I'm just going to start a few stitches before where I stopped picking them out, and I'm going to back stitch at the beginning and the end, and I'll also stop just a few stitches after I stop picking them. Then I'll go ahead and just come back to the beginning of my strap connector and sew right next to that line of stitching. Just go ahead and repeat here. Okay, the box corners are going to be done on all 4 corners exactly the same. You just spread these apart and match up your seams. You can either make them nest into each other, seams pointing the opposite directions of each other, or you could open your seam and press it flat and match up your edges like that. Clip it together. Go ahead and do it on all 4 sides and then we'll sew. Okay, I'm going to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance and sew the lining side boxed corners. And then on the exterior side, we're going to go back to the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm going to sew twice like we did before. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and trim my seams just a tiny bit on the exterior side, and down to 1/8 of an inch on the lining. I'm also going to come in and trim these seams too, and probably the side as well. Don't trim these, just leave those there. Okay, so let's turn it right side out through those zippers. Make sure you push out your boxed corners. Push your seams like nice and flat at those corners. Especially that zipper side. I like to try to do that on the inside of the bag and then on the actual real inside of the bag. Then you can push it inside your bag. And I'll grab my zipper pocket that's still open and we'll fold that in where we have our mark. We'll sew this shut. I'm going to use a 5 stitch length and a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so tuck your pocket in. Here's the inside. Grab your strap. And your Sunshine Crossbody is done. I hope you had fun sewing this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.